What's up, guys? Welcome back to today's episode of The Sports Sermon. We are brought to you by Scooch, the most functional phone case on the market. Check out ScoochCase.com to get yours today and use the code SPORTS18, sports with a Z, of course, to get a 10% discount on your order. Stay tuned till the end for a special Scooch giveaway as well. But now, today's episode. So we are here today to talk about the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I am Jason Gandhi. I am joined by Dylan Staggy, and I am joined by college football guru Dan Majors.
And Notre Dame Irish fan.
Yes, Dan loves Notre Dame. I was going to get into that. Dan is a big Notre Dame fan. He grew up one. He wanted to go there. Like, he has always been a Notre Dame guy through thick and thin. I asked him when he's going to date next year if he's still going to root for Notre Dame. He said, of course. This guy loves everything Notre Dame, but it doesn't just stop at Notre Dame. He loves college football. He gets into the most deep analysis of every single team. Don't even get him started on this year's Georgia State Panthers. I'm sure he can tell you everything about them. And if Georgia State doesn't fit your liking, just ask him about, the Northern Illinois Huskies. Dan's got that one on lockdown too. So, like I said, I'm with Dan Majors, the man, the myth, the legend. He is here to talk about college football with us today. Before I start, make sure you find these shows on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and iTunes, and subscribe and comment because there's a special gift that will be given later today. But I'll pass it over to the guru.
All right. Thank you, Jason. As of last year, we're talking about the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Last year, they went 10-3, where they got up to number 3 in the playoff rankings, but lost 2 of the last 3 in the regular season. They went on to beat LSU in the Citrus Bowl. They returned 15 total starters, 6 on offense and 9 on defense. Their key losses include Josh Adams, Quentin Nelson, Mike McGlinchey, Equinemius St. Brown, Niles Morgan, and Nick Watkins. So let's talk about the quarterback position. As last year, Wimbush, he was all right. This year, we're expecting a lot more. What do you guys make of the quarterback position? Also, who is the quarterback of the future, Ian Book or Phil Jurkovec?
I am personally all in on Phil Jurkovec for this year and the future. Brandon Wimbush had a 50% completion rate and was very underwhelming last year. Yes, he looked good in the spring, but I don't care. I've been hearing about Jurkovec since the day he committed from Dan and Zach. If he can handle it, I want him starting. Ian Book is a bum. If you don't believe me, watch Miami.
I think you've got to give Wimbush the job last year. Obviously, his completion percentage wasn't great, but Notre Dame needs the explosiveness, experience, and the lack of interceptions that Brandon Wimbush brings just because of the inexperienced weapons around him this year. And I think Jurkovec is going to be the quarterback of the future because he has more talent and the timing just doesn't work out for Book.
Yeah, you have to go with Brandon Wimbush. I mean, he is way more talented than Ian Book and will get the job done. People think Book was way better at the end of the year, but Wimbush still finished with a better QBR and threw only 2 more picks with 200 more attempts. So the key for me, though, is that you have to pick one and stick with it. Kelly has screwed up way too many quarterbacks by not just threatening to put someone in, but he actually puts them in. Kelly has had 2 different quarterbacks start every year since he's been here, except for 2013 and 2016. 2013 was Tommy Rees after Golson got suspended, and then 2016 was Kaiser after he won the battle in the Texas game over Malik Zaire. So every single year, it's been a quarterback, who knows who's going to start at quarterback. I don't want any of my players playing like they might lose their job. That just means they'll be more afraid of making big plays, and that is not what I want. The quarterback of the future, though, is no doubt Phil Jurkovec. He's extremely talented, and we should see glimpses of him this year with the new redshirt rule. I feel like Book doesn't have a very big ceiling, and he won't be an elite quarterback ever in his career. But going back to Jason has Phil Jurkovec as the starting quarterback. I mean, I expect him to redshirt this year. He'll be the 3rd string, maybe the 4th string with Avery Davis. I am very shocked by that, and especially we had this conversation with Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts. Jason, you've never seen Phil Jurkovec play.
You're right. I've seen Brandon Wimbush play. That's why I don't want him playing quarterback for my team.
Why?
He sucks.
He sucks. Brandon Wimbush sucks.
If Brandon Wimbush is my quarterback, I do not think that Notre Dame has a shot at the college football playoff. I do not like his game. I watched the Miami game and the Stanford game, the last 2 games that they lost, and those were embarrassingly bad games. And I don't want that left a bad taste in my mouth. I don't care if it's Vildrakovic, Ian Book, whoever the last guy you just mentioned was, anybody but Brandon Wimbush. I do not trust him, and if I'm a Notre Dame fan, I do not want him playing quarterback for my team.
Well, I mean, Kelly has even said that Wimbush looks a lot more confident coming into this year.
That's great.
He had a tremendous offseason, and he has that. Brian Kelly said he has that Larry Bird effect where his confidence is going to affect this team big time. If he's down,
we'll see.
Then it'll affect Notre Dame a lot. If he's up, that's going to be huge. So, I don't know. I'm just very surprised. Vildrakovic started.
I don't care who it is, just not Brandon Wimbush. I do not want to see him play football. He's really bad.
Then why not Ian Book?
Put him in. That's fine. I just watched Ian Book playing against Miami too, and they both looked bad. He looked horrible.
In the LSU game, Ian Book looked just fine.
Okay, so then play him. Anybody over Wimbush.
Wow. Dude, I am shocked.
All right, you were shocked last year. I said Brandon Wimbush wasn't good, and you told me I was crazy.
And
he isn't good. 50% completion rate?
6 interceptions
Dylan could throw
all year.
Could throw a better than 50% completion rate.
But he only had six interceptions all year.
Plus, I don't care. Complete a pass.
Plus, he can run the ball.
Talented quarterback.
He can run the ball too. That's why I really like him because Notre Dame has new running backs and new wide receivers coming in. Brandon Wimbush brings that extra element too.
Yeah, he can run the ball.
I mean, I was right last year. Brandon Wimbush would not be good and you guys told me you would not miss Deshaun Kaiser. Last year, if you had Deshaun Kaiser, you would have been much better off.
Okay, well,
same thing this year. We'll be looking back next year and saying that Brandon Wimbush was not the right option at quarterback.
Yeah, he definitely. You have to start him.
Okay.
There's no question about it.
I don't care. The thing is, I don't care if Notre Dame starts him or not. I wouldn't. And if they do, I hope they do. And when they take on Michigan,
I'm just so surprised you say Vildrakovic.
I don't care who it is. I'm not sold on Vildrakovic. I'm not like, oh, this guy has to be it. It's anybody but Wimbush.
I don't see where you're coming from. He is so talented.
Talented enough to throw more than 50% completion rate?
Yeah,
that's
he is.
Horrible.
He will get better this year.
Why? Why is he getting better? Because he's looked good in the spring. That's awesome.
Because he's a year older than most people when they
he just started his first year of college football last year. A lot of guys get better the next year.
Okay, like I said, I don't care enough to argue about this because I don't care who the heck Notre Dame plays at their quarterback position. I think if it's anybody but Wimbush, they're a legit college football playoff threat. And if it is Brandon Wimbush, I will have much lower expectations.
All right. Let's move on to talk about the defense here as which unit on the defense has the most improved. This defense should be very talented this year and could be key to Notre Dame's success. So which unit on the defense has the most improved?
I think the safety position. I think everything else has a sure thing coming back. Safety with Jalen Elliott and Alohi Gilman. I think those guys just have something to prove this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the safeties for sure.
Okay. I say it's not the defensive line because they get back 6 of the top 8 that allowed 155 rushing yards per game and only 4 yards per carry, which is the lowest since 2012. Not the linebacker because they have the big names in Tavon Coney and Drew Tranquil and were very proven last year. So I'm going to go with the defensive backs as they have an absolute stud in Julian Love as he set the school record for pass breakups last year. But other than that, everyone else has something to prove. No safety had a pick last year, and Asmar Bilal will now have the rover position after Tranquil switched to linebacker. All right, so let's move on to talk about Mike Elko. Will Notre Dame miss Mike Elko?
Yes, but the schemes are staying. Elko did a great job for Notre Dame with 3 straight top 40 defenses, despite not having a 4 or 5-star recruit on it. I was very impressed with him, and I'm intrigued to see how Coach Leah can do after being promoted from the linebacker spot.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame still has a very solid defense this season. So, I mean, and obviously the kind of character issues with Elko off the field, I mean, just with him backing out and everything, I mean, after that, I wouldn't really know if I would want him anyway.
All right. I'm going to say Notre Dame's going to miss him a little bit, but not as much as everyone thinks. He took a terrible defense in 2016 that allowed 28 points per game and got that to 21, and he allowed 20 points or fewer in 10 of the 13 games last year. He will be missed but his 4-2-5 scheme will still be in place with Clark Lee, as Jason said. So it won't be a step back because of Elko's departure. Clark Lee has been under Elko for a long time, so Lee knows his system. It's going to be the same. I don't think Notre Dame will miss Mike Elko that much. All right, so let's move on to a big topic, as I think this will probably spark some debate, either this or the next question. Let's talk about Notre Dame and being independent. Should Notre Dame join a conference? Also, if so, which one?
Yeah, they should. Probably the ACC, because they already are besides football. It makes the most sense to just join that. Financially, you lose your TV deal, which is clutch in terms of dollars, but there's ample opportunity and so much to gain from joining a conference.
Yeah, I mean, football-wise, I think it gives them the best chance at a playoff spot every year because they don't have a conference championship as an independent to kind of prove themselves. I think there's also something to be said for being different and getting to play their rivals more often because of not being in a conference. Also, Jason mentioned the TV deal, losing out on a lot of dollars too.
Yeah, I also say yes. I've always been back and forth about this with Notre Dame. I mean, so I'm going to say yes. There are benefits to being independent and being in a conference, but when it comes down to a discussion on whether Notre Dame or this team should be in, and they're basically equal, except this team is a conference champion, then it will definitely hurt. Also, the non-conference will be tough, as I think it would still set up Notre Dame playing USC every year. I would want Notre Dame to join the Big Ten because that just makes more sense for location and style of play, but it will it's going to be the ACC, as the 5 games ND already plays every year is setting up to join the conference at some point. Also, another thing is that once ND is out of the playoff picture, I think it'd be fun to still compete for a conference championship. If Notre Dame's out of the playoff picture with 2 losses, then let's go win a ACC.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So let's talk about. Jason's mentioned in the past that Notre Dame cannot make the playoff with 1 loss. Let's talk about it. Can Notre Dame make the playoff with 1 loss?
No, not this year, because Alabama and Georgia are so strong, and they can very well both get in, so I don't think they can make the playoff this year with 1 loss.
I think it's definitely possible. They would need a lot of help and probably need to prove themselves to kind of dominate the rest of their games. I think it's pretty hard, but I think the biggest thing that they would need to do that is multiple 2-loss conference champions. Then I think you can make an argument for Notre Dame sliding in with 1 loss. Obviously, they need a lot of help. I think it's possible, but not likely.
Yeah, so I'm going to say yes. Notre Dame can make the playoff with 1 loss. Ohio State and Alabama have both made the playoff with 1 loss, and not being a conference champion, what makes Notre Dame different? I just don't understand that. I mean, could not having a conference championship hurt them? I've just talked about, yes, no doubt. But Notre Dame can make the playoff with 1 loss. It's proven. Anything else, Jason?
No, I don't think they can this year.
Why though?
I think Alabama and Georgia are too strong, and I don't see.
Right, but you look at that. Let's say, okay, but you're talking about any years. Notre Dame cannot make the playoff with 1 loss.
I mean, it depends on the teams. I don't think this year. I mean, I don't know what the teams are going to look like in the next few years and all of that. But for me, when you look at this upcoming season, Alabama and Georgia are both strong, and I would take any of them over Notre Dame. I also just...
Okay, so hold up. You're changing your mind that Notre Dame can make the playoff with 1 loss.
No, I just said no.
I'm talking ever. Can Notre Dame make the playoffs with 1 loss? Let's say, I don't know, let's say that there's multiple 2-loss teams and 2 1-loss teams. Can Notre Dame make the playoff with 1 loss?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's hard because I don't know the eye test and all of that. I mean, I still would say no. I mean, I'm just going to lean with the answer of no. I don't see a way they do it. But
all right, well, I'm going to go into some years here that Notre Dame would have made the playoff. Let's start with the playoff era, though. 2014, I say no. Notre Dame would not have made the playoff. Wouldn't have made it 11-1 with Baylor, TCU, and Ohio State, all with 1 loss and a tougher schedule. 2015, that's a toss-up. I'm going to give it a maybe. Would have been a huge debate at 4 or 5 between ND and Oklahoma. 2016, no. ND would have been 5, as Washington had a better resume and a conference champion. But 2017, yes, debate would be between Notre Dame, Bama, and Ohio State. There's no doubt Notre Dame would have been in. Their key wins would have been number 16 Michigan State, number 8 USC, number 24 NC State, number 10 Miami, and number 13 Stanford. And then Miami and Stanford would have had one more loss, so they probably would have been like number 14, number 20. But still, it's still top 25 wins. And then also you take a 1-point loss to the number 3 team in week 2. Then Bama, their key wins are number 17 LSU and number 23 Mississippi State, and they lost to number 7 Auburn by 12 in their last game. So, yeah, Notre Dame definitely would have gotten in front of Bama. And so, yeah, Notre Dame definitely, no doubt, can make the playoff with one loss. Not every year. I'm not going to give you every year, but definitely can make the playoff with one loss.
All right. I mean, I told you how I feel. I don't have years previous to back it up. Like,
so,
I just don't.
Can Notre Dame make the playoff with one loss? Do you still?
Yes. No, they cannot. Nothing's
Dude,
changed.
what do you... Okay, let's go back even further then. Let's go...
Dude, I don't care this much.
Okay, dude, well, I do. Listeners do.
Clearly.
Yeah.
All right.
I just don't understand what you're saying. I literally just proved it. Like, Notre Dame, if they would have had one loss last year, would have been in the playoff. There's no debate about it.
But they didn't, so why do I care? Like
because you keep on saying Notre Dame
all of college football looks different if Notre Dame is one loss.
Yes and no. I mean,
yes, a team like Notre Dame, Alabama, USC, Ohio State, if any of those teams are 11-1 in a playoff conversation, college football looks different.
What do you mean? Like, Notre Dame beats Miami and Stanford last year. I think they get in the playoff.
Yeah.
Their only losses to Georgia by 1 point.
But what I'm saying is that this entire college football landscape looks entirely different if Notre Dame or whoever you want to talk about has one loss. Miami's not playing the ACC championship then, and this team, like, I don't care.
Miami would still play in the ACC championship.
But
so.
all these things different. All these things would change depending on a random year that you're talking about. If you go back to 2016, look at their schedule.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, let's say this did happen.
Why? I don't care. Who cares about?
Because you say Notre Dame can't make the playoff with one loss.
Let's see him be 11-1 first. Let's see him be 11-1 first. Then we can talk. I have yet to see him.
Dude, okay, whatever.
Let's see him do it.
Whatever, dude. I mean, they literally would have made the playoff last year with one loss.
But they didn't do it. Who cares? They got their butt.
Because you keep on saying Notre Dame cannot make the playoff with one loss.
Their ass got kicked against Miami, so I don't care. I watched that game hoping Notre Dame would win this and hoping they would be legit.
I got it. All right. Let's move on then. Okay. So let's talk about Brian Kelly in the national spotlight. Can Brian Kelly ever get Notre Dame to the playoff or national championship?
No, they won't be in the position ever to, and Brian Kelly's 2-6 for top 10 teams at Notre Dame. Nope.
I think he can get to a playoff. I think joining conference too would definitely help, depending on how recent or how close in the future we are to Notre Dame joining a conference. I don't think that in Brian Kelly's tenure they can win a national championship, though. I mean, just the way that Bama, Georgia, and Clemson look set up for the next few years, it's hard to say that they can win a championship against those kind of teams.
All right, yeah, I'm going to say no, because there's always that big game on the road that will put Notre Dame back on the spotlight, and Kelly just can't get it done. The one time he did it was Oklahoma in 2012. Other than that, I go back all the way to 2011, where he lost at Michigan, 2012, Bama in the national championship, 2013 at Michigan, 2014 at Florida State, 2015 at Clemson, 2016 at Texas, 2017 at Miami, and then also he hasn't won the last game of the year at Stanford or at USC since 2012, and that was against a 7-6 USC team. I will never believe in Kelly until he wins that big game on the road. So, until then, I'm going to say no, Notre Dame cannot make the playoff.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they'll be in the position to either.
All right. So let's move on to our record prediction for Notre Dame. And will they make the playoff New Year's 6? What do you guys got?
9-3. They lose to Pitt, Florida State, and USC. Brutal end of the season. And they do not make the playoff.
New Year's 6?
Possibly, depending on how it all shakes out.
Yeah, I got you. All right.
I think they finish 10-2. 2 losses are to Michigan and Northwestern, a couple of Big Ten teams. Honestly, I think they get 2 losses, but I'm really not sure which teams. There's a lot of games where, like, Notre Dame's favored, or it should be favored at least at this point, but only by a little bit. So the chances are, I think that they lose a couple of those. Right now, I would pick Michigan and Northwestern, but I wouldn't be surprised at a lot of them.
Yeah. What's your guys' ceiling for Notre Dame? Like, just a random question.
10-2. I think they lose to Florida State and at USC instead of losing to Pitt. I think 10-2 is my ceiling.
Okay.
Probably 11-1 because, again, Notre Dame could win every single game on their schedule. So I think it's possible, and it would take a lot of good things to happen.
Notre Dame is actually favored in every game on the schedule right now. So I'm at 10-2, losing to Virginia Tech and USC. I think they make a New Year's Six bowl. Hopefully the Rose Bowl. I mean, that'd just be cool. Fun. Yeah, that'd be cool. Awesome. Coming off of a Stanford win, they'll be on a high, and I think they lose at Virginia Tech in a big game on the road. And then I'm never confident in Notre Dame to beat USC or Stanford on the road. So I'll give USC the dub. If Notre Dame is undefeated going into that game, though, then I'll take Notre Dame because they will be proven, and I do think Notre Dame is a better team than USC. Also, one thing to mention, just some luck on Notre Dame's side. This is known amongst Notre Dame fans. Notre Dame is 107, 11, and 5, following the year that there's a Triple Crown winner. And 8 of the previous 12 years with a Triple Crown winner was an undefeated season, and the lowest finish was number 11. Yeah.
Why the heck do you know that?
That's so known amongst Notre Dame fans. Like,
and people ask why people hate Notre Dame fans for facts like that. Why does anybody hate time wasters?
Okay, I bet there's stats like that for a lot of big time college football.
I'm sure, but they don't tell us about it.
I mean, we're talking Notre Dame fans right now. So
I'm just saying, like, we don't. I get another reason why people hate Notre Dame fans, because stupid stats like that. I mean, it's cool, like, that's awesome, but like, it's just like weird and dumb. Like,
so does that change your prediction?
Oh yeah, they're actually going undefeated.
Let's get into our bold prediction though for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Dylan?
I kind of suck at bold predictions. It's not super bold, but I think Notre Dame could have a top 5 defense this year with a lot of guys back.
Dan?
Well, I think just going off Dylan's thing, if you look at previous seasons where Notre Dame has returned 9 or more starters, they've had really good seasons. I think the only season that Notre Dame didn't play that well, I think, was 2011. And other than that, it's been great years for Notre Dame coming off of 9 or more return starters. But my bold prediction, I have Notre Dame will win the Rose Bowl over Ohio State. Why? Because Notre Dame hasn't had back-to-back double-digit win seasons since 1993, and that would happen this year after last year's 10-win season. And you know what happened the following year? They won their last marquee bowl game in the Cotton Bowl over Texas A&M.
And now Ohio State might not make the playoff if they don't have Urban Meyer back. So
true.
I don't think that matters that much. I think they still have their talent. I don't know. I mean, Greg Schiano's going to be their head coach. He's been a head coach in the NFL. Like, I'm not worried about the Urban Meyer hiring this year. Recruiting and all that, yes, it matters. But for this year, I think Ohio State didn't really change my opinion of them. But
so like New Year's Six playoff is still definitely in the picture.
My bold prediction is very specific, I guess you could say. I really want to dive into this. So here's mine.
Oh my god.
Brandon Wimbush is the starter for less than 30 minutes of football. And now you guys ask, how does that happen? Wimbush starts against Michigan. He's 4 for 13, 27 yards, and 2 picks in the first half. Notre Dame is down 13-3 at the end of the first half. Phil Dracovic comes in, or Ian Book, does not matter, leads the Fighting Irish to a comeback win, and he starts the rest of the season, and it begins the honeymoon for Notre Dame. They have a honeymoon season based on that game. They go 9-3 and make a New Year's Six.
Very, very interesting there, Jason. I mean, I guess the first thing that comes to my head is Dracovic would not be the next one to come in. It would
That's why I say Dracovic or Book. Whoever it is, I don't care. We went over this in the beginning. We can go over it again. I do not care who the starter is. It's better than Wimbush.
Well,
Kelly is not against putting 2 quarterbacks in. I think he does it the first time.
All right. I mean, I don't know. I could see it with Book, but not Dracovic. Because why?
I said whale.
Oh, I thought you said why.
No.
Because, I mean, Book is the next guy in, and then after that is probably Avery Davis. So
I have no idea who that is, but he's probably good. Yeah, I need last thoughts on the Fighting Irish.
go Irish.
Nothing for me. I like Brandon Wimbush.
Stud.
He can run the ball.
Heisman contender.
I don't know about that.
All
right, that's going to do it for this episode about the Fighting Irish. Thank you for listening. If you want more of Dan's Notre Dame takes, make sure you follow us on Twitter at SportsSermonSports with a Z. Also, I mentioned Scooch. We are giving away a free Scooch case if you comment or subscribe on the next podcast, this one or the next one, as long as it's before the end of August. We will count it. Make sure you do that. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. Subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. Thank you, and deuces.